Realme is back, and not with a budget device. No, this is a premium phone, the Realme GT 7 Pro. What sorts of cutting-edge features can we expect here? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Realme GT 7 Pro review. The Realme GT 7 Pro is a flagship-killing device that is globally available, unlike some other recent Realme devices which have been for the Chinese market only. It brings a lot to the table, including Qualcomm's new flagship chipset, a huge battery, fast charging, and even underwater photography, but we'll get to that in a second. The phone has an eye-catching glass design with a matte metallic finish and subtle rippling highlights. It's neat how the metal around the camera bump is color matched to the back, and the flat aluminum frame is also tinted to match the overall theme. This phone's underwater capabilities are pretty unique. First off, this phone is IP69 rated. That's one extra level of waterproofing above what you get on a typical flagship, and it protects you against high temperature, high pressure water. So if you happen to drop your GT 7 Pro into the jacuzzi, you can breathe easy. And not only that, the Realme GT 7 Pro has a dedicated camera mode for shooting underwater. The mode activates automatically when the phone is submerged, and then you can shoot using the under-display fingerprint reader or the volume key. The results are actually pretty solid. Let's move on to the phone's display. It's a 6.78-inch LTPO OLED with a high resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The Realme GT 7 Pro's screen is one of the brightest around. We measured up to nearly 1100 nits with the manual slider, and this can boost to a whopping 2300 nits in auto mode. With a pixel density of 450 ppi, this display is plenty sharp, and there's support for high-end goodies like 10-bit color depth, HDR10+ video content, and Dolby Vision video. And thanks to this screen's LTPO tech, you get a smooth 120Hz refresh rate when swiping and scrolling, and this dials down as low as 1 Hz when the screen is idling to save energy. For audio, the GT 7 Pro has a stereo speaker setup. They earned a very good mark in our loudness test, and they have nice sound quality, with decent bass and good mids. The Realme GT 7 Pro has a snappy ultrasonic under-display fingerprint reader. And you can get the global version of the phone with 256 or 512 gigs of storage on board. That's not expandable through microSD. The Realme GT 7 Pro is the first phone to come out with the new Realme UI 6 out of the box, running on top of the latest Android 15. One of the major differences of the new Realme UI is the expanded suite of AI-based features, which are all the rage, you know. These include AI sketch to image, which allows you to draw something on screen and turn it into an AI-generated artwork. Other new AI features include removal of motion blur in photos and boosting the resolution and frame rate within games. But at the time of this review, none of these AI-based features were up and running to demo for you. Because this phone has an IR blaster, you can use it to control other devices with. And for software support, Realme promises 3 major OS upgrades and 4 years of security patches here. The Realme GT 7 Pro is the first phone we've encountered running on Qualcomm's new flagship chipset. It's the Snapdragon 8 Elite, built upon a 3nm process. The Elite is proving to be a significant step up for the Snapdragon lineup. In benchmarks, the Realme GT 7 Pro earned significantly better scores than the top flagships running on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. That's to the tune of around 30% higher scores in CPU tests, 20% in graphics tests, and 25% in specific ray tracing tests. The phone also boasts advanced passive cooling thanks to a large vapor chamber. However, during our prolonged stress test, we still observed heavy thermal throttling. The CPU performance went down to 55% of maximum. When it comes to flagships, we have seen worse though. The Realme GT 7 Pro brings one of the largest batteries around at 6500 mAh, and the battery life is excellent here. The phone earned an active use score of 17 hours and 31 minutes in our tests, with impressive numbers across the board. The web browsing result is among the best we've seen yet. On top of that, the Realme GT 7 Pro supports 120-watt charging, and the charger actually comes in the box. With it, we were able to charge from 0 to 94% in half an hour, and a full charge took 35 minutes. Not bad for a phone with such a large battery. There is no support for wireless charging though. Now we have the cameras. The Realme GT 7 Pro has a 50-megapixel main cam, a 50-megapixel 3x telephoto cam, and an 8-megapixel ultrawide camera. In good light, the main camera captures great photos with excellent detail and mature processing. Colors are vibrant, noise is non-existent, and dynamic range is great. When shooting people, skin tones come out likable, and facial details come out looking decent. In the dark, the main cam does reasonably well. Detail isn't at the top of the class, but it's generally alright, and colors are on point. The shots are slightly underexposed to better preserve the highlights, but shadows can look a little gloomy. And now the telephoto camera with its 3x zoom. During the day, detail is very good, dynamic range is nicely wide, and the colors are once again looking great. All that's missing is the close focusing ability for macro shooting, something that we saw in the Realme GT 5 Pro. In low light, the GT 7 Pro's telephoto shots have very good detail with natural processing. Dynamic range is excellent, and colors are pleasing too. The ultrawide cam produces good daylight shots for this sort of camera. Detail is alright, noise is well controlled, and the dynamic range and colors aren't bad either. At night, the ultrawide produces relatively soft results, but dynamic range is very good, and colors are accurate most of the time. Selfies come from a 16-megapixel front-facing cam with fixed focus. They're not especially sharp, but they have good dynamic range, and the colors are alright. The GT 7 Pro can record video in up to 8K with this main cam. The telephoto can shoot in 4K, and the ultrawide and selfie cam can shoot in 1080p resolution. 4K videos from the main camera have plenty of sharpening involved, but detail is good, colors are vibrant, and the dynamic range is wide. The telephoto camera is very similar in quality and rendition. There is a bit of additional noise though. And the ultrawide's 1080p footage is passable. The colors are less saturated than the other cameras for some reason. The electronic stabilization does a good job when it comes to panning, but when walking, not all of the shakiness is ironed out. And in the dark, the main camera does a decent job, but the clips are on the soft side. So, that's the Realme GT 7 Pro. It packs premium features across the board, including the top chipset, class-leading battery life, fast charging, and a unique underwater camera mode. It's only the cameras that keep this phone from being a true flagship, as it's not quite the cutting-edge camera phone you might expect it to be. But the cameras here are still decent, and if they're good enough for your needs, the GT 7 Pro is a phone worth recommending. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for alternatives, you can check out our reviews of the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE and the Xiaomi 14T Pro. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.